to welcome everyone to the orientation of Introduction to Epidemiology for Global Health. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. Our goal of conducting this seminar is primarily to start the course by helping you have a smooth start. We'll orient you to the course structure, to the learning activities, and expectations. First, I want to call your attention to some options on screen. There is a chat pod. If you have any tech support questions, please post them there, and my colleague Chris will respond. There is a question and answer pod, which you will access by clicking the Q&A button. And this pod you can use to ask questions about the course. My colleagues Dewa and Missy will answer your questions about the course. This makes it easier for us to answer any questions throughout the orientation, and you will receive those answers towards the end of orientation today. I'd like to start by introducing myself. My name is Chelsea Brown. I am the e-learning developer for this course. Let's get started, and we'll meet the rest of the team. Brandon Guthrie will be the professor for this course. It is his voice you will hear primarily throughout the lectures. Alana Lopez is the teaching assistant for this course. She will handle some content questions and discussion forums, and will also be sending out announcements throughout the course. And of course, my name is Chelsea, and I'm here to coordinate most of these efforts. I will let the rest of the team introduce themselves. Missy, would you like to start?
Yeah, thanks, Chelsea. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Missy Harrell, and I'm one of the course administrators here at EDGH. I'll be helping out with getting you added to the course, along with Meg, who is one of the other course administrators you may talk with. We can help answer questions about course enrollment and payment and course applications in the future as well. We look forward to seeing you in the course.
Hi everyone, my name is Dewa Greenleaf. I am the student support specialist on the team. I work across a number of our courses. So this term I'll be working with the epidemiology course, and I'll also be working with the project management course that will be running at the same time. I'm very happy to be here with you all, and I will be answering your questions that come up throughout the course, along with Alana.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Joss, and I do technical support for the course. I'm the person to get in touch with when you have trouble logging in, or if you don't know how to download something, or any questions that might come up during the course. I'm here to help you, and you can reach me at edghhelp@uw.edu.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, let's see who else is online. As you know, this course is offered by the University of Washington, the Department of Global Health and E-Learning Program, and we are based in Seattle, Washington, and that's where that gold star is on the map. The other purple countries are where all of you are, all of the students that are participating in this course. So we have quite a few of you all from different countries. And so we're really happy to have you all here. Okay. So this course provides an overview of epidemiology and biostats for those seeking to conduct research or, for those seeking to conduct research or work on research studies in a global health context. The objective of this course is to provide participants with an understanding of how epidemiologic methods are used to understand the distribution of disease within populations and what factors affect the risk of disease. Throughout this course, participants will become familiar with the concepts and terminology used to describe disease risk, the common study designs used in epidemiology, the concepts of bias and confounding, and the importance of appropriate measurement in epidemiologic research. It's a tough word for me. Okay. So this is a table of all of the modules you'll find on this course. There's 2 slides here. So these are the first 5 modules. And the second column is the dates that the modules will be open. So you'll find the first 3 modules will be open on January 12th. You can begin looking at content around that time. The stars represent whether or not there'll be a discussion or assignment for those modules. And of course, you'll receive, you can download these slides for review later on. I'm going to move on to the next set of modules. Oh, sorry. In that introduction module, in the very beginning, you'll find course policy quiz, and Dable will tell you more about that a little later. But that will, as a requirement, that will open up the rest of the content for you. And the second half of the course, modules 6 through 10, can be seen here. Their open dates, as well as the quiz close dates. And you can see which modules contain discussions or assignments. And I want to call attention to the wrapping it up module, which is this module will occur the last week of the course. And this module contains example case studies that incorporate the learning objectives from the rest of the course. And these case studies will have answer keys. They are ungraded. So they're really just there to help you synthesize the information before the final exam. So just a little bit more about that. The case studies will help you practice the skills and concepts you've been learning in the last 10 weeks. And completing these case studies will give you a chance to really think like an epidemiologist and help you study for the final exam. We estimate that it will take about 6 to 8 hours a week to watch all of the video lectures, to do the required readings, and participate in discussion forums, and complete assignments, quizzes, and any optional activities. So just be mindful of that in your schedule. Good time management skills will keep you on pace with the course. So I want to share with you the grading rubric, which you will find also in your syllabus. You can see that discussion forums are worth 10% of your final grade. And there are 5 discussions. Your discussion group will have about 25 to 30 people. And that's different than your local site group if you are affiliated with the site. And this is so that you can interact with people from different regions and countries throughout the course. And weekly quizzes are worth 20% of your grade. You will have 1 attempt for the quizzes, and that attempt will open a answer video that will walk you through the quiz questions and answers. And written assignments, there will be 3 total, and they're worth 10 points each, so 30% of the grade. Because there are so many of you in this course, you can get feedback from your group, but we won't provide direct feedback for the written assignments. And so feel free to compare your answers to the written assignments with those in your group. You must receive 70% average on graded activities in order to pass and receive a certificate of completion for this course. And those of you that are a part of sites, you must show up to at least 3 of 4 of your site meetings, or 75%, if you are meeting more frequently than 4 times. If you do not show up to 3 out of 4 meetings or 75% of the meetings, you won't receive a certificate, even if you do receive a 70% pass grade. And site meetings are a great opportunity to break into smaller groups and give each other feedback on written assignments. And alternatively, you can discuss some of the case studies or activities altogether. Make sure that everybody's on the same page and understands things cohesively. And so I'm going to talk just a little bit about plagiarism. In other courses, we've had some issues around plagiarism. And to support academic integrity, we will be checking assignments to make sure that nothing has been copied or plagiarized from other sources. Plagiarism is taking existing work and not crediting the source, which makes it seem like the work that you're turning in was your original idea. So some examples of plagiarism are not acknowledging the source or direct quote or the paraphrase, changing a few words in a paragraph that someone else wrote, borrowing an existing idea and presenting it as a new idea, translating others' work into another language without citation. Don't simply copy and paste from a website or a journal article. In those cases, you need to cite what the source is. And so just know that even when you paraphrase or change a few words in a sentence or paragraph, you need to cite the source. Assignments that reveal any degree of plagiarism will result in 0 for the assignment and may also result in suspension from the course. Great. I'll move on to asking tech support questions. We strive to resolve your questions as quickly as we can within 24 to 48 hours. Please remember, for many of you, we are half a world away. And so many may not see your question answered for 12 or so hours. Also, we might be slower to respond on weekends. There are discussion forums for you to ask tech support questions and content questions. Dewa will be showing you this in just a moment. You can also email edghhelp@uw.edu. You can see that email address at the bottom of the screen here. We can respond to your questions more quickly if you include the following information in your initial request. And remember, we have a couple of courses going on currently, so please cite the name of the course, which is Intro to Epidemiology, the email address you use to log into the course, a detailed description of the problem, and if it is applicable, please include a screenshot Instructions on how to create a screenshot are included in the introduction module of the course. If you are experiencing the problem on a mobile device, please note that it is not recommended to access Canvas on a mobile device. Chris, would you like to add anything to this?
Sure. The only thing I wanted to add is that for the participants today is we've got a new knowledge base that we started up here, where we took a lot of the frequently asked questions and we put them all into one site. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the link right now in the chat. Bookmark that, because you can check back with it. A lot of questions can be answered through the knowledge base. So that's the only thing I wanted to add.
Thank you, Chris. We'll also include that link in maybe the first course announcement, so everybody has it. And with that, I will pass the mic along to Dewa for a little tour of the course website.
Great, thank you so much, Chelsea. I am going to go ahead and share my screen. If one of my co-panelists will let me know whether you can see my screen shortly, that would be great. Can you see the course page?
We see you.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you so much for that overview of the course. I'm going to take a few moments here just to give you a visual tour of our course website, so that the things that Chelsea talked about, the assignments, discussions, the course content, so that you know where to find all of that. So once you are in the course starts next week. It starts on Monday. So once you're in the course and the course begins, this is what the homepage of the course looks like. So when you're at the homepage, you'll see an introduction video from the professor, Brendan Guthrie, and some information about the two TAs, Alana and myself, and then some hyperlinks to the syllabus, where you can find the modules, and then there's some information about the technical requirements. And I will go through those separately as well. So just a few things to point out here. On the right side, you can see this to-do list, and this will show you all the assignments that are coming up. So if you click on this hyperlink, it will take you directly to the assignment. It shows you how many points the assignment is worth and then when it is due. So you can see here our first assignment for Module 1 is due on January 19th. So that's kind of a quick link for you to access some of the upcoming assignments right there. And then to the left, there is a navigation, some navigation on the left that I want to draw your attention to. And that's what we're going to go through kind of in this tour today. So we're in the home page right now. The next tab that you see here is the tab for announcements. Right now, there are none that are posted, so you can see that there's this no announcements sign right here. But once the course starts, there will be an introduction to the course announcement that I will send out. And then each week, I will send out an announcement that just gives an overview of what to expect for that week. So details any assignments that are due that week and links to those assignments, and anything that just you might want to keep in mind for the week. So that is kind of one of our main sources of communication, is through those announcements. Typically, your Canvas is set up such that you will receive these announcements in your email. But if you ever need to access an announcement, if it accidentally gets deleted or you can't find it in your inbox, you can always find them here in announcements. The next tab that I will show you is the syllabus tab. The syllabus tab is where you can find all the information you need for the course, to be successful in the course. So it's a little bit of a description of the course in general. And then here is a downloadable link to the syllabus. some information about the instructor and also Alana and myself, and then a list of topics that we are going to cover. So each week is going to be, the first week we're going to start with the introduction of epidemiological methods and quantitative research. And then each of these following weeks will be each of the modules. And as Chelsea mentioned, and I will show you as well, week 11 is going to be case studies, and then week 12 is going to be devoted to the final exam. It talks about the format of the course, which is that it's broken down into lectures that are viewable, participation in discussion forums. There are 3 written assignments. There are readings that are assigned for each module, and each module has a quiz at the end of the week to help you interact with the material and facilitate a little bit more learning that way. So all of the required and recommended readings are going to be drawn from these 2 texts: Principles of Epidemiology and Public Health Practice, and Cancer Epidemiology. So here are some links to those 2 resources directly. But as I'll show you when we get into the modules will contain the readings specific to those modules. So some information about grading and our late work policy, which I'll talk a little bit more about when we take a look at the assignments. Our academic integrity statement, copyright statement, and then a few more pieces of information. And then at the very bottom, you can see a schedule and course summary. And this is another kind of handy tool if you want to see all of the assignments listed out by module. It shows you the due date. And you can see here that for module 1, there's just the quiz. And then here are the assignments for module 2. There's a discussion and a quiz as well. So you can link to those directly from the syllabus page. And I would recommend that you download the course syllabus so that you can reference that easily as well, because it does provide a bit more information than is just on this page. On the right side of the screen here, you can see the breakdown of the assignments and how they factor into the total, your final grade, which Chelsea went over. So you can see that again here. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the modules. So the first module that we're going to be going through is the introductory module. We will also, so this webinar is being recorded and we will link to it in the introductory module. So if you know of anyone or if you yourself want to go over this webinar again, you can find it here in this introductory module. So the introductory module has some really helpful information for you. So that is what I would recommend you go through first once the course starts. Go through each of these topics. And once you have gone through that information, you will want to take the course policy quiz. So the course policy quiz basically draws from information in the syllabus and also this introductory module, and just helps you to interact with the information. So hopefully it will stick a little bit as you're going through the course. So there's questions in there about, when our assignments due, what's our late policy, how to reach us, things like that. So you can see here that this quiz is worth 0 points, so it does not count towards your final grade. However, it is required. So as Chelsea mentioned, once you take this course policy quiz, you will be able to then access the pretest and the first couple modules of the course. So that's the first thing that you'll want to do is go through the introductory material, go through the syllabus, and then take the course policy quiz. Once you take the course policy quiz, it will open up the pretest. So the pretest is ungraded, but it is a course just to have a little bit of an understanding where you are in your understanding of epidemiological research methods. And then it's kind of something that you can reflect on after you take the final exam to compare. So the pretest is not counted towards your final grade. You can see here it says it's worth 0 points. But you do, again, like the course policy quiz, you do have to take it in order to unlock Module 1 and Module 2. So you can see here that pretest will unlock January 12th at 11:59. So essentially it'll open January 13th, which is Monday, Pacific time. And that is when our course starts. And then Module 1 will be available at the same time as well. So Module 1, I'm going to go ahead and leave student view for a moment so that I can show you that first module. So this is what Module 1 looks like. There is always a little bit of a brief introduction in terms of what to expect in the module. The learning objectives are listed out. And then the lectures are all embedded within the module as well. So like I said, all of the information you need for each module is contained on this page. So this is the page for Module 1. And again, this is found under the Modules tab. So you can see here that this is the first video lecture for the course. So there's a few options for you here. You can either play the video and stream it and watch it right then and there. You can also download the lecture so that you can watch it at another time. You can access just the PDF slides with the transcription of what is being said for each slide. You can download the PDF of that. And then there's also an option to just listen to the audio. So we find that people will either stream the video live or they'll do a combination of download and look at the slides, or stream it and look at the slides, or do the audio. So whatever works best for you, depending on how you learn and also how your internet connectivity is, whether or not you may be assigned to a post in the field and may not have internet access. These are some great options for you. You can see here the recommended and optional readings are listed for this module, and links are provided here for the PDFs. These are practice exercises, so these are questions that are taken from the reading. When you see practice exercises, it says optional. This is not something that you need to submit for grading. I'll show you what graded assignments look like below. So here is the quiz for Module 1. That's our only assignment due for Module 1. And you can see that there is a due date here. So if you see a due date with any activity or assignment, or with any assignment, that is kind of a good indicator that that is something that it needs to be submitted and will be graded and will count towards your final grade. And then this will link directly to that initial quiz. I'm gonna just quickly go back into student view so that the page looks like it will for you all. Let's go ahead and take a look at the assignments tab, which is the next tab on the left side here. So if you go to the assignments tab, you will see all the assignments listed out. So you can see our 3 written assignments. You can see when those will open, when they are due, and then how many points they are worth. The next section is a list of all the quizzes. We have a quiz in modules 1 through 10. And then the discussions. So the discussions, there are 5 total throughout the course, as Chelsea mentioned, and they don't occur every module. They are in modules 2, 4, 5, 7, and 9. So Something to keep in mind is that not to expect a discussion forum every single week. The final exam, you can see down here, you can see when it opens, when it is due, and how many points it's worth as well. So just gonna go ahead and scroll up to the top here and talk about due dates and submitting assignments. So each of our assignments has a due date. So you can see that our first written assignment is due February 2nd. That assignment will become available January 19th. So anytime after January 19th and before February 2nd, you are welcome to submit that assignment. And we know that, you know, things come up, life things come up, work commitments come up, and sometimes people are posted in remote areas for work, and it makes it challenging to meet up with due dates. And so what we do is that we make the assignments available a week before that module opens. You can turn it in a week early. You can also turn it in the week that we are covering that module. And then we also leave the assignments open a week after this due date. So for example, this written assignment 1, which is due February 2nd, it will be open until February 9th at 11:59. So if something comes up and you are not able to turn this assignment in by the due date, you can turn it in anytime the following week. It will be marked late, but there is no penalty for submitting a late assignment. So it won't impact your grade negatively, but it will be marked late. And so that just gives you all a bit of a buffer so that if you need to turn an assignment late, you can. And again, you can also turn assignments in early. And we really encourage you to use that option as well. If you know that something is coming up that might take your attention away from the course, you're welcome to work ahead and get those assignments submitted a little bit early. So once the assignment closes, so for assignment 1, the assignment close date would be February 9th, it will not be available for submission. So once you're past that assignment close date, that assignment can no longer be submitted and count towards your final grade. So I would recommend, you know, if you have anything that comes up that might make it challenging for you to submit an assignment on time or within that week window after it is due, to please reach out to us to let us know so that we can work with you if necessary. But otherwise, we're pretty, you know, we're going to stick to that assignment close date and that 1 week window that you have. Just another note that I wanted to mention while we're talking about assignments and due dates. The assignments are all due on Sunday night at 11:59 Pacific time. We set the assignments due that way because we have gotten feedback from our participants that works best for their schedules. But please note that they are due on Sunday night and that we are not in the office on Saturdays and Sundays. And so if you email us on Saturday or Sunday with a question about submitting your assignment, you will likely get a response on Monday when we are back in the office. So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next tab, which is discussions. Chelsea mentioned before that there are a few discussion forums that we want you to be aware of. This first one, this introduction discussion, this is just a forum for you to introduce yourself to your discussion groups. So you can see the discussions listed here, the 5 discussions that we have through the course. When you are added to the course, you will be randomly assigned to a discussion group. This will not necessarily be the same group of people that you may be taking a course with in your site group. So these are just totally randomly assigned. Each discussion group has about 30 people in it. And that is just so that you can interact with a fewer number of people and have a little bit more of a meaningful discussion regarding the course content for each of these 5 discussions. So that introduction discussion is just a chance for you to introduce yourself to your discussion group and kind of get to know the other members in your discussion group on Canvas. The next pinned discussion is the technical support discussion. If you have any questions about how to access material, the link is not working, if you have any technical issues whatsoever, you can ask them here. Chris closely monitors this forum and can assist you with any questions that you have. If you have any course content related questions, you have questions about clarification on confounding or bias or a certain epidemiological method that you want more clarification on, you can ask that in the course content discussion forum. Alana and myself will monitor this forum closely and answer your questions there. And this is also a place that you all can work with each other. And if you see a question about a concept and it's something that you feel that you have a good grasp on, you can answer each other's questions and help each other. And it's kind of a great opportunity for some peer-to-peer learning. Classroom Cafe is the next pinned discussion, and it is a forum that is just for socialization, and it's not one that we necessarily look at very much. And so this is just for you to socialize with your peers in the course. So if you do ask a question, if you do have a question, please be sure to ask it either in the technical support or the course content so that we will see it more readily. The final tab that I wanted to show you is the grades tab. And this is where you can view all of your grades. So once your grades are posted, you should get a notification letting you know that a grade has been posted for an assignment that you submitted. But if you want to take a look at all your grades all together, you can view them here. And then at the bottom, it shows you information about the how you're doing so far in the course, which right now, of course, there's nothing has been submitted, and so it's all 0 right now. Grades are always posted the Monday after the assignment is due. So let's look at the, let's look at the Module 2 discussion. Module 2 discussion is due January 26th. We talked about before how, we encourage you to submit assignments early. The one note about that, though, is that if you submit your assignment early, that is great. However, your grade won't be posted until the Monday after it's due. So the Module 2 discussion is due January 26th. Grades for that discussion will be posted at some point on Monday, January 27th. So if you submit an assignment early, we definitely encourage you to do that. But don't be alarmed if you don't see your grade right away. And that goes for the written assignments as well. Those are always going to be posted the Monday after they're due. So written assignment 1, which is due February 2nd, the grades will be posted on February 3rd. So that is kind of it for the tour of the course itself. I wanted to leave some time to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the Q&A pod. If it's a tech support question, you can ask it in the chat pod. And I was going to go ahead and ask my co-panelists if there were any questions that came up while I was talking that might be good to address with the whole group.
There is one right now, Dewa, that is about how final exams will be conducted. If you wanted to say more about that, the specific question is, will they be conducted online or on site? But if you wanted to say a little more about the exams, that'd be great.
Okay, great. Yeah, the final exam. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I guess I didn't speak about that too much, so let's talk about the final exam. So the final exam is 20 questions, and it draws from the material that we cover throughout the course, so throughout the 10 weeks of modules. Module 11 is the case studies module, so it really allows you to kind of apply the information that we've learned to a real world example, and hopefully helps you to interact with the course material in a way that helps with learning the material. And then the final exam is 20 questions, multiple choice, just like the quizzes. The quizzes are also multiple choice. And each question is worth 2 points, so the final exam is worth 40 points total. One thing that I will mention is that the quizzes have 1 attempt each. So when you take the quiz, there is no time limit on the quiz. So you are welcome to take your time answering the questions, so don't feel like you need to rush to submit the quiz. I believe that there is a feature that tells you how long you have been taking the quiz, but don't worry about that. It does not, there's no limit. So you can take the quiz, as long as you want, and there's no penalty for taking extra time on it. But there is only 1 attempt. Every now and then, something goes haywire when somebody is taking the quiz and they have some connectivity issues or something goes wrong. If that happens, please let us know. And usually we can tell on our end. We can take a look at your quiz and we can tell that something went wrong when you were taking it. And in that case, we can work with you on that. But otherwise, the quizzes just have 1 attempt. And the final exam is also the same. There is not a time requirement. There's not a time limit on the final exam either, but there is just 1 attempt on the final exam. Once you complete each of the quizzes, there is let me go back to the modules page to show you this. So once you complete the quiz, there is a quiz answers review that becomes made available to you. And that kind of gives you an in-depth review of what questions and answers were covered in the quiz. So it's a really helpful tool to help learn these concepts. And some of these concepts are challenging for sure. And so this is a really nice tool to use once you've taken the quiz to review that. There's a question here. It says, will group discussion also be graded? So the discussions are group discussions. You will discuss some questions regarding the course content with that smaller group that I was referring to of 30 or so people. And they are graded, yes. But you are graded on your contribution to the discussion forum. Your grade is not dependent on the participation or the input of the others in your group. So it's not a group grade in that everybody gets the same grade. The grade is for you individually. There's a question about the written assignment. What format will the written assignment be? So the written assignment, I can show it to you really quickly here. So this will not be available initially, but so this will make more sense once we go through the course material. But this assignment is basically giving you an option to choose a study design to apply to a real world example. It's asking you to write 1-page answers to these questions. What is your research topic? What is the disease or outcome of interest? What is the exposure? And what study design will you use? So research question, disease or outcome, exposure, and study design are all concepts that we're going to be learning in modules 1, 2, and 3. So if you don't know if you don't know how you'd answer these questions yet, that's quite all right. We will cover that. And then you will submit a 1-page written assignment to these questions. Any other questions, Missy or Chelsea?
There is another one about the completion of the quiz and opportunity for quiz review. Just someone seeking a little more clarification about that.
Okay, great. So again, the quizzes are 5 questions. They are worth 2 points each. And then the format of the quizzes, again, is multiple choice. And then once you complete the quiz, you will have that review, which I believe is a video of Professor Guthrie speaking and talking about the concepts and explaining them a little bit further. And then there's also a PDF version, like a transcript of that as well. So just keep in mind that each quiz is worth only 2 points. So if you take a quiz and you don't do as well as you had hoped, that is quite all right. It won't negatively impact your grade to not do well on a quiz, or even not do well on a couple quizzes. So don't be too concerned about how well you do on the quizzes. Maybe just try to take your time on them and do the best you can. But if you don't do well on a quiz, that is quite all right. It won't negatively impact your grade. The final exam is worth 40% of your grade, so that is a big chunk of your grade. And then the 3 written assignments are each worth 10 points. So that's 30% of your grade for the 3 written assignments. So what I would recommend is make sure that you stay on top of the written assignments and that you stay on top of the discussions, because that will kind of give you a bit of a buffer, so that because the quizzes are a bit more, either you get the question right or you get the question wrong. And so those other assignments kind of help you give you a little bit of a buffer on your grade. So there was a question again about grades for the discussions. I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. The grade for the discussion is not going to be the same for the whole group. The grade for your discussion is based on your contribution to the discussion forum. So if you are in a discussion group and you don't complete the discussion, if you don't contribute to the discussion, you won't get credit for that discussion, even if your peers do.
Dewa, could I jump in and just say
do.
something really quickly just about when participants will be added to the course? I think you might have said something about it also, but just wanted to reiterate. So everyone knows the course will begin on the 13th of January, and we're excited about that. We work to add participants to the course a little before that, so we will be adding participants to the course on the 10th of January, which is Friday. That's Pacific time. So we will make sure to send a notice to you when you're added to the course. You'll get a notice from Canvas, and then we'll follow up with an email as well that has login directions that will help you log into the course website and then tell you what to do if you need additional support. So you can look for that. If you need additional assistance, I think Chris already shared the email that you can use to reach us, but we'll make sure to include it in the email that we send to you, and then I'll say it once more. It's edghhelp@uw.edu, edghhelp@uw.edu. And you don't need to email us yet if you haven't received that email, because you haven't been added to the course yet, but we'll be working to do that in the day ahead. Thanks.
Thanks, Missy. There was a question about the grade breakdown. So we talked about how the assignments are worth 30%. Each one is worth 10. The final exam is worth 40. There was a question about what the rest of the breakdown is. So I just wanted to point that out here. Quizzes are worth 20%. There's 10 of them. They're worth 2% each. And discussions are worth 10%. There's 5 of them, and they're also worth 2% each. There's a question about what is the timing of the lectures. So like I showed you in the modules, the lectures are there. So once the module becomes available, you can view that lecture at any time. There is not a set time for it. So you can do it whenever best suits your schedule. But just keep in mind that there are due dates, and that this is not a course in which you can complete the material at any time. The assignments for Module 1 and 2 and 3 will close, like I said, a week after they are due. So it's not like you can go back at the very end of the course and complete all the course material at the very end. And we really try to do that so that it keeps everybody on the same page, that we're all kind of going through the course material together, more or less. And we find that that actually leads to more success in the course in terms of people completing it and feeling successful in it. A question about the final exam. Is it the same format as with the assignment? The final exam is more similar to the format of the quizzes. It's multiple choice, whereas the assignments are written and submitted as a written assignment. In terms of recommended reading materials, though, there is that that spot that I showed you where it shows you the reading materials that we use. So those are both textbooks, and that's what we draw from. And then if there are some optional reading materials that you can find throughout some of the modules as well, depending on the course topic. There's a question about how long to receive the certificate. It is a bit of a process. Once the course ends, we will work to finalize grades, and then we send those grades to site coordinators to look at and to confirm. And once the grades have been confirmed, we start the process of printing certificates and getting them sent out. So it is a bit of a process. It typically takes, we typically say it takes 6 to 8 weeks after the course ends to receive your certificate.
And for those who are not part of site groups, we also say it's about 4 to 6 weeks as well. For those that have applied to take the course independently of a site group, who have indicated that they would like just a digital certificate, it's on the earlier side of that timeline.
Missy, was there another question that you wanted to answer?
Yeah, there was. One moment, sorry.
Regarding maybe those that have not been added to the course yet.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Great, thanks. So being added to the course, what you're seeing on your screen is the course website. So being added to the course is just our process to make sure that you get added to this course website, which is Canvas, and that's what we're showing you here. So we have a process where we need to create the account for you and then be able to tell the system that you're a part of this course. So that's what we mean when we're saying add you to the course. So absolutely applying and paying for the course is what you need to do on your end. And then we just have the logistics of incorporating you into the system on our end and then making sure you're able to log in and that you have the details that you need. I hope that answers your question.
We have just a few moments left, so we'll try to answer any final questions that come in. And we are definitely happy to answer your question once the course starts as well.
Looks like we have some questions about payment. So some participants have paid a little bit later than the payment due date. So we still will work to get you enrolled in the course. It may be that we'll be adding you just as the course begins, and so there may be a little bit of a delay, but then the course has this introduction module, so you'll be able to get started and catch up. And so it's great. It's great that you'll be able to be enrolled, and we'll welcome you to the course as well when it starts. So thanks for checking with us. You're welcome to email us if you have additional questions.
Yes, so just another note on that. So this course is a little bit different than some of our other courses, where we do have an introductory module. So next week we'll be doing our introductory module, but we'll also be covering module 1.
Oh, so, thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, sorry. Sure thing. And so this course does have content in the first week. However, we totally recognize that sometimes there are challenges to being added to the course because of late payment or other things. And so we keep the assignments open a little bit longer for module 1 and module 2, just to kind of make sure that everybody has a chance to complete them. So if you are joining the course a little bit later than the course open date of Monday, don't feel behind, don't feel panicked. You will still have plenty of time to complete the assignments and go through the material.
Great. It seems that most of the questions that, I believe all of the questions that have been asked through our QA pod have been answered. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to email edghhelp@uw.edu. You can find all of the dates that we've discussed in the syllabus when you gain access to the course. And please keep an eye in your email for announcements, kind of weekly announcements to keep everybody on track as the modules open. And I believe that concludes our time today. It seems I'm seeing some more questions a little bit, but
there's one question about when is the course starting on Monday. So the course will technically open at on Sunday night, so January 12th at 11:59 p.m., which is essentially Monday Pacific time. So as soon as that course opens, you will have access to that introductory module like I talked about. You can take the course policy quiz. You can take the pre-test, and once you do those things, you can start going through the modules 1 and get started on the material. If you don't meet the requirements of 70%, you will not receive a certificate. So you do need to, your grade does need to be 70% or higher in the course in order to earn a certificate.
Great, thank you. I just want to note that you will have access to this this orientation, the orientation slides, as well as recording the orientation. You'll have access to that on the website as well. And thusly, I'd like to conclude the orientation. We're looking forward to working with you all. Again, please direct any questions to edghhelp@uw.edu. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful day and a great weekend. Thanks to you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.